Yeah. Well, and I always been told that you make the money when you buy, and so it's all about negotiating a good deal up front, and then having that equity built in off of your offer, as opposed to hoping it appreciates over time. And so, hey guys, welcome to another episode of Break It Down with Braydon. I got Phil Han on here and Tom Fulton with the Fulton Rizzo team at Hunt Real Estate. Gentlemen, thanks for joining me this morning.
Thanks for having us.
So just give everybody a little bit of background, who you guys are, how long you've been in real estate, kind of brag about yourself a little bit.
Well, we are a team of three. Our third partner, Maria Elena Rizzo, couldn't be with us today, but I'm sure she's here in spirit.
Yep, shout out Maria.
And we have been a full-service real estate brokerage firm in Cave Creek for the last almost 10 years. But as a group, we've probably got 90 years of real estate experience between us. 30 here, probably almost 30 with Phil, and 20 or so with Maria Elena. So, real estate runs in our blood, from real estate development to brokerage services, representing buyers and sellers all through the North Valley, and we love it. We're housed at Rancho Manana, which is the building we're in there at the Rancho Manana Resort is actually 80 years old this year. So
no way.
Yep. Yeah, it was built 80 years ago. And,
very cool.
A very historic place. It's a great place to work. So and
yeah.
have our clients come over.
Yeah, it's really cool. If you ever been out to Rancho Manana, they've got the office right in the front there. Pretty unique little setup, and pretty cool you guys have that there. So it's pretty, it's different. So I think it's a unique approach, and it probably gives you guys a lot of footprint traffic and everything.
We do see between the golfers and coming in and out every day, and the guests at the Tonto Bar and Grill, which is kind of a hot spot up in the North Valley.
Yep.
It's good for our business. We do a lot of walk-in traffic up through the front door.
Yeah, absolutely. Phil, how about yourself?
So I'm a native New Yorker, born and raised in the city. I moved out to the Carefree area in 2014 for my wife. We would snowbird out here. And I've been a real estate agent for 20-plus years at the Corcoran Group in New York City, mostly working the Brooklyn division. After the pandemic happened, a lot of things shifted in New York City real estate, being the epicenter and the kind of hot spot of what was going on with the pandemic. So I had been, gearing towards eventually coming out here full-time and getting licensed. And with everything that was going on in the world, I decided to kind of kick it up a few years early, decided to get licensed out here. And I decided to go in with Tom, Maria Elena, who had sold us our place back in 2014, to ask their advice on what kind of brokerages they would think would be a good fit for me.
Yep.
And they offered me the opportunity to work with them, and it's kind of been like a family atmosphere. So I've been 2.5 years now with the team, and wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
Yeah. What makes the team unique for being an agent on their team now?
That's a great question. I ran a team of 12 back in New York, so I was kind of used to being the person who brought in, the listings and worked with all the developers and so forth and so on, handled all the corporate referrals. So I think now coming into a situation where it's a smaller team, I'm working with such knowledgeable agents in both Tom and Maria Elena that really are experts in the area and also are a big part of the community. So I think that's a thing that kind of separates our group. We're very active in both Carefree and Cave Creek and North Scottsdale, doing everything from volunteering to outreach programs. And for me, it's kind of been more like a family atmosphere working with Tom and Maria Elena as opposed to a corporate atmosphere. Yep. And I think having three of us gives us flexibility and coverage, different types of clients. Some clients might work better with Tom or Maria Elena than me, or vice versa. So
yeah, love it. Talk a little bit about the territory that you guys focus on. I know you're primarily up in Cave Creek and Carefree, like you mentioned, and North Scottsdale, I guess, because Desert Mountain's kind of considered Scottsdale. But
I'd say 70% of our business is occurring, north of the Carefree Highway, up in Cave Creek, Carefree, North Scottsdale. However, the other 30% is spread all over. Maria and Elena and I just got back from a listing appointment yesterday that was on 75th Avenue down in Peoria.
Okay.
But in reality, it's only 35 minutes from the office. So, we're comfortable doing that. But, yeah, we're sort of hyper-local, we call it, with the Cave Creek, Carefree, North Scottsdale area.
Yep.
Been there forever. My family actually owns the Rancho Mañana Golf Resort, and we've had that for going on 30 years this year. Maria Elena has been a local there for 25 years. So that really gets us into, the action there.
Yep.
We are closely tied to all of the other real estate agents in the area. We know what everybody's got coming and going, and we can reach out to them if we have a seller with a specific, kind of property. We can reach out to the agents that have historically had buyers in that category. Makes us successful there.
Yeah. Speak a little bit on Rancho Mañana and just kind of how the whole operations, because I know you got a restaurant there, there's the golf course, there's condos, I believe, on the property. Mm-hmm. I think that kind of just speaks to how much you guys kind of an understanding of everything kind of real estate related involved with restaurants and everything.
Yeah, my family purchased the golf resort in total, everything you just mentioned there, in 1994. Okay. So, together. And then we redesigned and rerouted the course. I personally developed the 38 condominiums that you mentioned on the property by 98, 99.
Okay.
We finished that.
There's 34 condos, you said?
There's 38.
38, sorry.
There's 38 condos in the project. And it's been sold off as a timeshare. It's now a Hilton Grand Vacations property, which is actually very, good for the resort and the golf course and the restaurant itself, because it's a transient guest coming in, week out. And,
absolutely.
It produces a lot of business. It actually, throws off a lot of buyers to us too, because people come there, stay a week, first time they've been in the area, fall in love with the area, want their own place.
Yep.
And so we see a lot of buyers generated out of that. But that history there really connected us to the politics of the town, and we have a great relationship with the town of Cave Creek, and and everything that goes on there, because the golf course, the restaurant, it's a major contributor to the tax base.
Yep.
It's the only golf course in Cave Creek itself.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, there are obviously a bunch of nearby, but in
actual Cave Creek.
Cave Creek, it's the only golf course that Cave Creek has. Yeah.
Philip, how about yourself? Why Cave Creek? Obviously, when you moved to Arizona, you could have gone anywhere.
I did. I came out
to
the area in 2010 on a golf trip in the winter, because obviously we couldn't golf in New York, and my team back east are avid golfers. And we were actually in Fountain Hills area the first time we came out, and then we started moving around to a couple different places each year. We keep coming back, and then 2014, my wife and my in-laws decided to come out in the fall, and my father-in-law and I decided to golf every day, and the girls, looked at real estate and called a couple listings, and happened to one of the listings. Maria Elena had the listing down in Scottsdale where we were staying, and she encouraged my wife Lauren to consider Carefree Cave Creek. So the girls went up and looked at some properties up there, and I'm sure for people who drive up, either Pima or Scottsdale Road, it's a beautiful scenic drive coming up to the mountain ranges and all that. And, we kind of really just fell in love with the area immediately. So that's kind of how I ended up there. And, I each year was spending more and more time away from New York, up to almost 4 months when the pandemic broke. So it seemed like a natural fit to make that transition, then, which was 2 years ago, as opposed to waiting.
Yep.
And I'm glad I did. So.
Yeah, I love it up there. It's crazy how once you hit the Carefree Road, it just everything kind of changes. It just almost, it's like settling and relaxing.
Exactly.
Yeah, I just love it.
Yeah, it's what we kind of consider is Cave Creek proper is really everything that north of that Carefree Highway. Cave Creek itself the city limits run way south of that, but when you make the turn before the entrance at Rancho Mañana on Cave Creek Road into the downtown Cave Creek, it's like a time machine, right?
Yeah.
You're going into, the cowboy bars, the biker bars, the eclectic, if you need to buy Mexican clayware pots and stuff, there's a bunch of it there.
yeah, it's crazy how many just cool stores there are.
Oh,
and just the energy out there. Everyone's out and about, and just it's just cool.
And
area.
the locals all hang out, really locally. You see everybody, if you hang out at Harold's long enough, you'll find whoever you need to find there.
I've actually got a group going up to Buffalo Chip next weekend.
Yeah.
We're pretty excited.
Yeah.
I got a little party bus going up there. It's gonna be a good time.
Gonna ride the buffalo?
Probably not.
Ride the bull?
Ride the bull? Probably not. Probably
Come
not.
on.
I don't know. Maybe not. I know you both have some experience in development. Talk a little bit about kind of your background in development. I know, Tom, you've got a development going on in Tubac right now. You kind of mentioned some condos you guys are building down there as well.
We do.
Talk a little bit about that.
The Tubac Golf Resort and Spa in Tubac, Arizona, which is about 30 miles south of Tucson, is another resort property that my family trust owns, and we're developing 15 townhouses on that project right next to the pro shop there.
Yep.
As we speak, just finished the model unit up, but frankly, since we first broke ground there, we've sold the project out almost immediately. So now it's just the process of getting them built.
Yep.
Hopefully while we're still alive, has been the building process and permitting processes have been crazy since COVID started, and pricing and things like that have been out of control. But so we're substantially behind schedule, but it's coming along. Before moving full time to Cave Creek, lived in Telluride, Colorado.
Okay.
Where I developed a couple of large projects in the village core of Telluride, a mountain village. So
stunning there. I'm sure that wasn't bad.
It was stunning. It was a great place to be. Yeah. It's but I've been primarily in the development and brokerage business for really it's probably about 40 years, not 30, but that's so and my father and stepfather before that were all developers, so it's in the blood.
Love it. Phil, how about yourself?
Well, most of my development started early, mostly in Brooklyn and downtown Manhattan. So I would basically identify properties, lots, whatever the case might be. Pretty much, our team ran the gamut from, what we were going to build, what size condos. We did some townhouse conversions as well. So from the designs, the layouts, to the staging, and obviously marketing the units is big business in New York for new construction. So I, feel like one of the advantages of having that as opposed to just transactional real estate is it kind of helps you when you are working with buyers or sellers of new construction. It is a different animal. One of the things I like about the Carefree Cave Creek area is that we have plenty of, national builders that have come in here in the last 4 or 5 years, from Toll Brothers to Shea Homes who had never been in Arizona, and they're building left and right everywhere. And I think that speaks to the amount people are willing to pay for a new top-of-the-line home in a lot of those developers building those communities. And they're flying, even now in this market that's kind of been balanced. And also, we in Carefree Cave Creek in the North Scottsdale area, we have the high-end, HOAs and lifestyle, Desert Mountain, Terra Vita, Whisper Rock, but we also have a lot of non-HOA stuff up in Carefree Cave Creek, which people love. So people looking for horse property, people want 5 acres in a secluded location. Our towns kind of offer that as well.
Yeah, I think you nailed it right on the head. I think what kind of differentiates you guys is you guys have that background, and you could advise your clients on that different areas and stuff, because ultimately, I think a lot of people get into real estate investing, and eventually they want to get to development. I think that's kind of the ultimate goal in a lot of different people's cases. And so having that skill set and that background really kind of elevates your guys' brand and expertise, I think. So it plays a big role.
I think what also helps is our history in this business. We've been through all the cycles. The real estate is a cyclical business. We're going through another one now. We've had, but it all, settles out with time.
Yep.
And frankly, we believe that, the real estate business has softened, since the peak of 6 months ago.
Yep.
And the craziness that we've been going through for the last year and a half, 2 years. But there's still more people moving into Arizona than are moving out.
Yep.
Specifically, when you start looking at the Cave Creek Carefree, it's a very popular area. The big views, the less density, less, just
more
less
land.
Less traffic, everything else. Pricing has come off of what was almost an insane peak that we saw. But it's not going to drop through the floor, in our opinion. Some of the buyers have taken over the last 4 or 5 months. We've seen buyers taking a wait and see attitude a little bit, but as I like to say is that they want a place in Arizona. They want that winter home. They want that, and eventually they're going to have to scratch that itch. Okay, they can't stay out of the market that long.
Yep.
And we're seeing it right now. We're actually just had a very successful August and September. So we believe it's going to settle out at a price point that's still considerably higher than it was in 2020, 2021. Maybe off a peak a little bit, but it's going to stay a strong market.
Yeah, there's still a ton of demand, and it seems as though a lot of this is slowing down because of interest rates are driving that factor, and so
interest rates, inflation, stock market, there's just this confusion, this concern out what the markets are doing.
Yep.
But when people start talking about a real estate crash like the 2007-8 crash, that was driven by a completely different mechanism.
Right.
Just artificial lending practices that got more people in trouble than they should have.
Yep. Yeah. Breathe here. Okay, you qualify.
Right. We've seen stock markets go up and down, interest rates go up and down, and the market got spoiled at 2.5-3% interest rates. 6.5% interest rates aren't historically a bad interest rate for mortgages. It's going to take some time for people to get over
that. Right?
Yeah, just get over that feeling of they missed out, right? That they didn't hit it when it was 3.
Yeah.
But it couldn't stay at 3.
Yep. Yeah, and we're seeing contracts every day come in right now that are having counter offers on them as opposed to having to waive the appraisal, waive the inspection, and everything. They're actually getting concessions on deals and stuff. So there's actually a pretty good opportunity right now to buy. Yes, you're going to have a little bit higher interest rate, but every economist, every mortgage lender, obviously, is saying that rates at some point are going to come back down, and they'll have the opportunity to refi.
With sellers, we've seen some success with having the sellers offer, effectively buy downs of interest rates as a concession to the buyer.
Yep.
And it seems to be an attractive, mechanism in the sales side.
Yeah, at the end of the day, people are just looking for the payment that they could afford, and so as long as they can have that buy down for the first couple of years, get them comfortable with it, and then hopefully at that point rates can get adjusted and they can refi out of it.
Yep.
Talk a little bit about the third team member. I know she plays a huge role in this. I know you guys always get joked with that you guys are dating or married or whatever, and
Maria, a number of years back, Maria Elena and I, we didn't actually do it. Considered though taking an ad out in the local, Cave Creek newspaper, kind of just notifying everybody that we weren't married, because it was pretty well just assumed by the market that we were a married couple. Mm-hmm. She's my work wife, and my real wife takes exception to the fact that people think we're married.
And how long have you guys been together?
2014, we opened that office at Rancho Manana together. We were with a different brokerage, put it that way, at that point.
Yep.
Transferred over to Hunt when actually Peter Hunt out of New York approached us with a great marketing plan, a desire to really make to enter this market of this Phoenix and Cave Creek Carefree market.
Yep.
Did that with a considerable amount of marketing support. So we're really happy there.
Yeah.
Maria Elena likes to say that when I first met her at the other brokerage, and I was telling people I was going to open this office up in this building that at the time was vacant at Rancho Manana, she came up to me after that meeting, and I didn't know her, and said, you're not going to believe this, but I've had a personal vision that someday I'd work in that office. And I go, well, this is a match made in heaven then.
Yeah.
And it's been, just a symbiotic relationship ever since.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Phil, you mentioned earlier how it kind of feels like a family and just how much stuff you guys are doing in terms of like the community involvement. Mm-hmm. Talk a little bit about some of that stuff you guys are doing in Cave Creek.
Well, I think one of the things about Maria Elena, when I think of her and how, she's raised her kids in this community, has been with Tom for a long time, and she does so much outreach for people just as a person. So a lot of people really look at her more as a neighbor, and they go to her for a lot of things other than real estate related. And I think that makes Maria Elena very relatable to a lot of people, that it's not your typical realtor approach when you deal with her,
Yeah.
you know. And you know, when I first started, you know, she had said to me, listen, this is a small town. This is different than New York. You have your roots there. You're born and raised. You already had your kind of network there. She's like, you need to get out and active in the community. So, you know, I've done, we're big in the Chamber of Commerce, which we have one chamber for both towns, for Carefree and Cave Creek. So we're ambassadors for that. I was on Carefree's Public Safety Advisory Committee because we are in rural metro, which is not considered automatic aid. So that's been a big thing up here with the big fires we've had the last couple of years. So I sat on that committee for a year, and now I'm sitting on the board of directors for the Holland Center, which is our community center in North Scottsdale.
Were you talking about that?
Yep. So that's been really good for me to be more involved either from a volunteer time or to put my efforts towards something other than just real estate and kind of let things happen more organically. And it also lets me meet a lot of different people in town. So
I'll add to that. Phil is the single greatest networker I know. He's been in Cave Creek Carefree a total of a couple years, right?
Yep.
And I guarantee you 100% more people know Phil than know me after being around him for 30 years, okay?
New Yorker, he doesn't stop talking.
I sit in the office. I like to do the contracts, negotiating, technical paperwork, make sure the deals get papered and documented. Maria Elena and Phil are really the outward face of our firm.
Yep.
And it makes sense. They're one a lot better looking than me, and two, people like them more than they like me. So
yeah, I remember when we went to lunch, we walk in the restaurant, and saying hi to everybody. Everyone knew who you were, and it was just kind of like we went to a second house of yours or whatever, and it was just like family in there too, and everyone knew you.
He'll eventually be the mayor of Carefree.
It sounds like it.
Well, I think one of the things that's nice about our towns is that they are very friendly. So you have your locals that are here year-round, and I would say Carefree in particular, maybe 60 to 70% of the small population are just here seasonally.
Yep.
So it doesn't leave a ton of people around in the dog days of summer, so to speak.
Yep.
So I kind of look at that as an opportunity to do even more in the summer with locally. And then, we normally get busy once the snowbirds start stepping into town, which we anticipate will be very soon. Yeah. So I think one of the things I did want to mention when we were talking about what's going on in the market and interest rates and all those types of things, I think that, at least for me, the biggest issue that has kind of made it more a balanced market, which I don't think is an issue, it's just what it is as opposed to a seller's market, has been the inventory. So we literally have 3 times the amount of inventory we had a year ago. Yep. So I think that's another reason that's kind of, driving it more towards buyers, being able to get some concessions, being able to negotiate, not having to go over ask. If you're a cash buyer, this is an amazing time to buy anywhere in Arizona, but especially up by us, because you're not going to be dealing with interest rates, obviously, and you're going to have some power to negotiate, especially being cash. Yep. So that's going to be interesting to see when those snowbirds do come to town in the next 6 months, how much of that inventory may get absorbed and how quickly.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's kind of crazy how it's shifted so much in 6 months, and every buyer that wasn't able to buy 6 months ago because there was 10 other offers on the home, and they were still willing at that point to write offers over the asking price just to see if they could try to get the home. Now they don't have to do that, and actually, if anything, they're now getting under asking price or getting concessions. So that like you mentioned, where they're getting to pay down the rate or pay down other things. But now people are scared because, well, it's a declining market. Well, it's kind of just balancing, like you mentioned, and kind of like prices still aren't under what they were selling at last year. So it's not like we're at like, oh my God, we need to freak out because prices are rapidly declining. Like they're not. It is getting balanced, and it's funny because whenever people say that on this podcast, we get a bunch of people that aren't in real estate that are the most knowledgeable people on Instagram or on these other platforms, and oh, well, tell the truth. It's the declining market. Well, it's really not. Look at the numbers. It's not like it's just our opinion. We're looking at the facts and looking at the figures and history over time. And you probably should be still investing in real estate. And if you're not, you're going to miss the bubble again or the mark again. Not the
what
bubble,
everybody
word.
considered a year ago is this insanely super strong real estate market had, 12 buyers, 12 offers on every home over the weekend it came on the market. It is actually not a healthy real estate market. You got literally thousands of buyers that couldn't get into the market. And those buyers are still out there.
Yep.
Yes, they may be taking a little bit of a wait and see attitude, but what we've transitioned into actually is a very normal, healthy real estate market. Where you've got homes come on the market, you're getting 30 to 45 days, average days on market before they get under contract.
Maybe a day or two.
Maybe getting offers that are 2 to 3% below ask, but that's a normal real estate market.
Yep.
Agreed. That's where it needs to be to maintain a healthy real estate market. If that extreme lack of inventory would eventually kill off a real estate market and Arizona's ability to grow.
Yeah.
And prosper, because people will eventually give up if they can't find anything to buy.
Yep.
Just because there's no inventory.
Yeah. Well, and I always been told that you make the money when you buy, and so it's all about negotiating a good deal up front and then having that equity built in off of your offer, as opposed to hoping it appreciates over time. And so, going into a multiple offer situation typically isn't the best when you're looking to buy. And so now I feel like it is a great opportunity, because you might be the only person writing an offer, chances are, right now. And so as long as you're willing to take a little bit of a higher interest rate or have the seller pay it down, it makes sense right now.
Yep.
I
And
agree.
sellers that are coming to market that have owned their home up there for, anywhere from 5 to 10 years are still in an extraordinarily profitable situation.
Yep.
They've got a lot of equity in the home, and very few of our sellers have to sell. They're just making life changes, and things change, and they're coming back into the market. But luckily, we're seeing some inventory available, so people have choices. Don't have to scramble within 12 hours to get a home under contract.
Yeah, I think I heard some stat, I think it might have been even this morning, that like 26% of home buyers within the last year regret the home that they purchased because they didn't have options. They just settled for something that happened to be on the market at the time because they needed a place to live.
They were desperate.
Yeah, they were moving in from another state for jobs, or moving in or changing locations or whatever because they were done leasing or whatever the factor was. There's always a change of familiar status that's forcing people to move. And there's a lot of those people that kind of had to make a decision, even though it wasn't really what they were looking for. So I feel like there's a lot more options out there right now, and it's a pretty good time. What's kind of your guys' predictions for the future?
Oh, I think Arizona stays a very stable, very strong real estate market, and frankly, as much as real estate values have appreciated in Arizona over the last 2 or 3 years, if you compare our values to California, Colorado, Utah, any places like that, we're still a bargain. We're still seeing the California buyer sell their home there, be able to, replace that exact home here for, 60% of what they sold the one in California for.
Yep.
The pricing and all over the place. We're still a good, strong value. And, it's got huge chip plants being built, Taiwan chip plant, and Intel's built, and Google or whoever, everybody's building huge new business expansions here. That's a lot of people coming here.
Yeah, the 303 is literally all like industrial, like just massive warehouses that are going in.
Yeah.
I saw something that was posted, I think, on AZ Big Media, where there's a development going in that is a mile long of warehouses. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
that's so much infrastructure.
That's like 20 million square feet of warehouse. And if you look at the Taiwan chip plant that's on the 303 there, they must have every big crane in the country on that project. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, we actually had a commercial guy on last week, and he was talking about how the supply and demand for just products and materials for them has bogged their turn times down, just because they're obviously getting priority over every material.
Yeah. You're preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
We're trying to get concrete and steel.
That was literally the big one. The name was
Concrete's
concrete. He's like, it's the worst.
They've
He's
killed
like, we cannot
the
get
concrete
it.
market.
Yep. That's funny. Phil, what's your predictions?
Well, I think there's a couple things to add on to what Tom said. I think when you look at people who want to move here seasonally, right? So let's call them snowbirds. People who come here for golf. Obviously, Tom and I are big golfers, and we really know pretty much every golf community, pretty much within 4 hours of here.
Yep.
And then you have all these commercial properties and businesses and industrial expanding. People are going to be coming here to work. You have people coming to the schools. The schools have been always rated great in Arizona. So I think a combination of all that demand to be here on the industrial, commercial, as well as the residential side, will bring enough buyers into the market that can hopefully absorb some of this inventory that we've seen triple, basically, and keep that market balance for the foreseeable future. So I think it's a good thing for Arizona. It's a good thing for realtors that work here in the Valley. And, I think that the press has also been very good on Arizona as far as the real estate goes. I mean, they pretty much said that the greater Phoenix metro area has been the number 2 growth city in the country the last 3 years. So I think that speaks volumes to where we're heading.
I agree. Yeah, there's plenty of demand, that's for sure. You mentioned schools. To be honest, I am not familiar with any schools kind of up in Cave Creek. Can you guys talk a little bit about that?
Oh, sure. The Cave Creek Unified School District is one of the top-ranked school districts in the Valley here. The high school is
Cactus
Shadows. It's from an academic point of view, it's an A+ rated school. From an athletic point of view, they're a powerhouse in the Valley. But strong schools. I got to be honest, we're our little niche up in Cave Creek, Carefree. It seems that few of our buyers, especially, have school-age children.
Yeah.
They have school-age grandchildren.
Yep.
But it's been it's a great school district.
Yeah.
And those several new and older subdivisions that kind of cater to the younger families there too. So.
Yeah, I just guess it was really just a personal question because I got a daughter now that's 16 months old, and so just trying to start looking at schools a little bit and always asking people those questions. Just kind of curious.
Cave Creek Unified School District, the state holds their ratings out there, and they're right at the top.
Love it.
So they're good.
Yeah, I know Maria Elena put her kids through the school system up here. So when we have clients that are seriously considering a move to Carefree or Cave Creek because of the school district, Maria Elena can speak many tongues to, why it is the place to be or send your kids to school. She also does a lot of stuff for the Kiwanis Scholarship, which actually helps put kids through school and send them off to college on scholarships. So that's another great thing she does as far as outreach in our community.
Love that.
And then when you start to think big schools, like I've had 2 clients from back east whose kids are coming to ASU. They're like, the cost of tuition's outrageous. We don't want to put them in a dorm. We want to buy them something and let it appreciate. What do you think? So we're seeing a lot of people not only in Arizona but from other parts of the country whose kids are coming to ASU in particular that are looking to buy property and then hopefully in 4 years have that equity and appreciation. So we're seeing a lot of that too.
That's huge. Yeah, setting their kids up for the future. That's a good way to build generational wealth right there.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's the other thing driving Arizona real estate values is the real estate taxes. Arizona has, if not the lowest, it's
property taxes.
Yeah, probably the second or third lowest property taxes in the country.
Yep.
And you compare that again to those markets: California, Illinois, Chicago, place.
Texas.
People tell us it's like getting a free house here.
Yeah.
My real estate taxes in Chicago on a $700,000 house were $23,000 a year. Here they're $1,800, $1,900.
Yeah, my sister-in-law and brother-in-law are in Austin, Texas.
Yeah,
and I think their taxes were almost as much as their mortgage.
Yeah.
And whenever they went to buy, they're like, "Wait a second, we didn't know that was the case," and it was like a little bit of a sticker shock. Where here, it's not even really a factor.
And
it's like, oh, here's a couple $100 that you have to pay during your taxes. Oh, okay, cool.
No, the taxes are huge, especially for buyers that are a little more senior, moving here for their kids or their grandkids, or just want to relocate and be in a beautiful place and pay less taxes. We still have our condo in Brooklyn, which is 1,150 square feet, and we pay $21,000 a year in tax.
There's an example for you right there.
There you go.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and then shoot, go buy a property in New York right now. I mean, what's the average price per square foot? $1,500, $2,000.
If you're in Manhattan or downtown, and any new construction's north of $2 right now.
Yeah.
And the rental market was crazy there. That seemed to have balanced out, which is now bringing back the condo and townhouse buyers. A lot of that was pandemic driven too. People wanted out of New York City, like myself.
Yep.
They wanted something different, totally different.
Yeah.
Other people still had to be in New York to work, so they went out to the, Jersey, Long Island, Westchester, and those areas, doubled, in the amount of sales they would do the last 2 years since the pandemic happened, because a lot of people can work from home or commute a couple days a week. So, here in Arizona, you don't really have those type of issues or feels. So people are normally driving to work or going to work, or they're just remotely at home. So why not work here as opposed to a big grungy city?
What is the average, if price per square foot up in Cave Creek? Is it is it up to the fours? Is it
It's
way
in
over
the
that.
it's
Yeah,
the 4 to mid 4s. Older, if it's a little dated, you might be in that 350-ish range square foot.
So if you're buying 1,000 square
but everything
foot.
we're seeing right now that's in good shape, and there's 430, 450 a square foot.
Yeah.
But also, I'm building a house in Cave Creek right near the Rancho Manana golf course, and the building costs, just for the hard construction costs, are coming in at a little over 400 a square foot. So that's before the land and architecture. I'm going to be 600 a square foot into this house by the time I get it built.
Yep. Yeah, there's definitely the values up there to justify that too. So it's.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Well,
I plan to live in it a long time.
Yeah,
so it doesn't.
Well,
doesn't matter.
I think anything new construction you're going to see. I mean, Toll Brothers is doing 2 projects in Carefree. They're at $900 a foot.
Okay.
900
New
a foot.
builds, yep.
Yeah, and I mean, you're going to pay that if you want a Toll Brothers homes, especially with views.
Yep.
I think one of the things that's interesting too is Carefree, Arizona became the second town to have a median $1 million price after Paradise Valley.
Huh.
And I think that surprised a lot of people, because even though people are familiar with Carefree, they didn't realize how much the home values have actually gone up there. So unless you're buying an older house in Carefree, it's going to be a 7-figure home up there. Easy.
Yep.
Easy. So.
This has been awesome. Tom, Phil, for anyone that wants to get a hold of you guys, what's the best way to reach you?
Well, call 480-489-1811. You can go to our website at fultonrizzo.com. And, those are probably the 2 quickest ways to get a hold of us. But
Awesome.
on fultonrizzo.com, they can search the MLS. They can search our listings. They can get backgrounds on us there.
Cool. FultonRizzo.com, FultonRizzo. Make sure you guys check them out. Obviously, very knowledgeable in the space. I've been doing this for a very long time, and just know what they're talking about. So if you guys need a resource, obviously for any real estate needs, but specifically up in Cave Creek, Carefree area, these guys are your guys.
We're there.
So thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming on for another episode. And
Thanks, Braydon.
Stick around, guys. More to come. Break it down with Braydon. Thanks.
Thank you.